5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Welcome back.
This is the GHT Overland Podcast.
We interview overland travelers around the globe, learning about their travels, their experiences,
And enjoying their inspiring stories of doing good along their way.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Lisa. This is part 2 of our interview with Karen and Sunny with the Vagabroads. Let's pick up where we left as Sunny and Karen give us their insights on border crossings. I just love these two. You're going to love this episode.
All right, let's get into it.
On what you plan for either in time or any tips or tricks that you came up with?
Get there early.
Okay.
I look at iOverlander because a lot of the borders act like for each border, every country will have maybe 2 or 3 borders. And so look at which one looks the easiest. Sometimes it's worth the time to actually drive to another border that's easier.
Right, like Tecate was a great border, and
Right.
I don't regret spending the extra 45 minutes driving away from Tijuana to go to the Tecate border.
It was super easy.
Right,
Yeah.
and we did that in a few countries. In El Salvador, I think that was one we picked a particular border because it was easier. Honduras, same thing. And the other thing is just relax. Have your papers organized. Spend the hour the night before at the copy place, getting all your copies and getting organized, and just relax. You're going to get across the border.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might take all day. It might take 5 minutes. And the way we always looked at it was this is part of our experience. How often do you get to cross the border between Guatemala and El Salvador? Enjoy it. Enjoy it. But yeah, just approaching the borders like another adventure, and it was fun.
Okay. Cool. Any specific safety planning that you did?
We brought bear spray
Okay.
just because we are in a tent,
Yep.
and I personally wanted to get a cattle prod, but
I vetoed
Sunny
it.
wouldn't let me. Just, somebody coming up the ladder. But
Super illegal, by the way, to have a
is it?
cattle prod in Mexico.
I was thinking it'd be kind of fun.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Anyway, we had that in Mace. We had some knives. We had our kitchen knives, and
Okay.
nothing extravagant.
These were all false senses of security.
So once you spent a little bit of time in Mexico and you continued to travel south and you kind of got acclimated, I guess, you felt a lot safer?
Yeah.
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
you always
Like
have
we're-
those moments. You drive into El Salvador and you think to yourself, there's going to be heads hanging from bridges and MS-13 out to get us everywhere. And you spend 10 minutes over the border and you let go of all of that. There were no heads.
Okay.
There was
That's
a
good.
Benihana.
There was an Olive Garden. I mean,
There's a mall. They
There was
have
a
really
mall.
good roads.
I mean, this is San Salvador. This is supposed to be the murder capital of the world outside of war zones. And literally, it was a beautiful metropolitan city with well-organized roads. A yoga hotel invited us to stay for free. We stayed for a couple weeks at this beautiful...
Nice.
They made us coffee every
They
morning.
made us
They had
coffee
locally
every day.
grown produce.
And then other times we were spent on remote beaches, learning to surf and hanging out, and it was really chill.
Okay.
And yeah, so you let go of it quickly. Your expectations are never what you think they're going to be.
Ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Navigation, communication. What did you guys use for navigation? And anything specific like communication? I don't know if you're using just a cell phone or if you had an inReach or...
We had a couple of things because you want to prepare for not having cell phone service, and you want to prepare for GPS being wrong,
Yeah.
and it's wrong a lot. iOverlander though was really useful because the coordinates were almost never wrong. I mean, they were wrong by less than a mile,
Right.
So you could find a spot on iOverlander and it works offline. And then you plug it into an offline maps, like you could get MapsME. So we our system was iOverlander, good old Google Maps GPS, an offline mapping like MapsME, and then a paper map.
So you use paper maps as kind of a backup, or how did you use
Yes.
those?
We had a paper map for every country just as a backup.
And it was a backup, but we did have to bust them out a couple of times.
Yeah,
I mean, there were a few times where things just didn't make sense, and GPS led us into a lake, and it just wasn't
We
quite
can't
right.
drive here.
Right.
Yeah, and I wouldn't recommend Google Maps necessarily. If you can start out using that, make sure you get all the offline maps, and then the same thing with MapsMe before you even think about heading to a country, download those offline maps and have them.
Yeah. And even the blogs are pretty good for that, telling you where the GPS isn't going to work really well. And we did carry an inReach satellite phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
But really for our moms. I mean, it was really just so if when we went to those remote places, we could just send a text, here are our coordinates, and they can pull it up on the computer and see exactly where we are. And it was great to log our trip. And we never used it, but it did provide a sense of comfort having that SOS button.
Yep. Knowing that you could use it if you needed to.
Right.
Yep. Okay. So vehicle maintenance and repair. What did you do for your pre-trip planning? And did you do anything like on a regular, everyday, like check things out? What was your process there?
So we got our top end rebuilt in Colorado before we left, and we also had the wheel bearings done and
the wiring.
The whole front end serviced. We had some electrical wiring fixed, and made sure our dual battery management system was working properly. And then once we crossed the border, really the Land Cruiser, it held up. It didn't have very many issues, especially compared to some of our friends' cars. But we did regular oil changes. You could see places. We actually brought our own oil.
We brought several of our own tools that we weren't sure. We brought a torque wrench because we have spacers on our wheels, and we were pretty sure, and correctly, that they would not have a torque wrench in Mexico, or Central America, and they did not. We brought our own. What are those things called? The code reader. We brought our own code reader.
The OBD2 code reader.
Glad we had that. A lot of mechanic shops did not have those.
And if they did, ours was nicer than theirs, and ours was just a cheap one from Harbor Freight. So,
And a lot of regular maintenance, just regularly going in there and tightening things and greasing things.
A lot of WD-40. We would go around the car every time we left a campsite. We would walk around the car and just look at it and make sure everything was tight and good, and there weren't like rocks in the tires and just little things. If
the car becomes such a part of your team that you take care of it in the same way that you would take care of yourself if just a preventative health.
Yeah. We had a couple things we had to get fixed by mechanics, but you always want to watch them when they're fixing
closely.
it.
Very closely.
Yeah, and if you can get your own parts, that's ideal. Carry some spare parts. Our alternator went out, and we got an alternator, but it was just not really a good alternator, so we replaced it when we got back.
We carried extra belts and clamps and the extra alternator. We had a
lot of extra little screws. Like I know the Land Cruisers have a lot of the 10 millimeter screws, and so we had extra of those.
Fusible link.
Yeah, fusible link it came in handy.
Right, random thing.
So that's quite a bit. So did you guys figure that out during your trip, or did you do your research and you knew all those were the things that you needed to have with you?
Both. We talked to other Overlanders.
You're right.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dust to Glory, they were a great reference for us on the way. They answered a lot of questions for us. And then we actually got really lucky. When we left, we stopped in Colorado. And the great thing about Overlanders is they're everywhere. And if they've done this trip, they never miss an opportunity to talk about it to other people planning or about to do the trip.
Perfect.
So we got a note on our car. It was said, we're Tim and Emily. We just got back from our trip. We saw your guys' car. Can we buy you beers tonight? And
nice.
Then they connected us with another guy who had the exact same car as us. And he sat down with us and literally made a list of these are the parts you need.
You're right. So we got some extra oil filters that we brought.
He even had
Toyota.
Some of them and gave them to us.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was really cool. He gave us a
nice.
fusible link, which we ended up needing. So it was good stuff.
Cool. So onboard necessities, let's go through those really quick. So how much fuel can you carry and how far does that take you?
I'd say our fuel tank is probably a 20-gallon-ish. And I don't know. I never really
used to know these things.
Yeah, I never really kept up with it very well.
We carry 10 extra gallons on board.
Right. And the thing is that we learned is when the tank's halfway full, if you're not going to be near civilization for a while, anytime you see a gas station, just fill it up.
When you get a chance, fill it up.
Fill it up.
Do you remember how many miles you could go on that tank?
Not many.
No, I don't
Not
know.
enough?
Not enough.
We probably got 11, 12 miles to the gallon. It was bad.
We're heavy.
Yeah,
we're heavy.
Super heavy.
Because you took everything.
Yeah,
exactly.
We took everything. But
we shed some weight along the way.
Yeah. If I had it to do, now I've heard for South America, people like having both of those tanks. If we had it to do over again, now I'd probably just take the one spare tank because we never went through more. We did a few times need that extra tank, but never more than one of those tanks did we need. And for us, again, we're two women. I would get a more manageable style of gas tank. We'd probably do the Rotopacks next time. This time we had these old military big
huge,
they're
super
real heavy.
Yeah, hard
I can
to
see
manage.
both of you back there trying to get that thing up there and balance it for 5
Yeah, we learned
minutes.
to fill them about 3/4 of the way. So
But even with the gas, you want to make sure we change our gas filter a lot because the gas down there is just not as clean.
Yeah, you can put an extra filter
That's what I
in
meant.
line, and that gives you a little bit better filtration.
Okay. Water. How much water did you carry with you, and any specific filtration methods that you came up with? Or
We started with 5 gallons, just an extra 5-gallon tank on the back with our gas tanks, and that was not enough. So
Not even
we learned
close.
that really quickly.
We
need
couldn't
water.
stay off grid more than 2 days with the 5-gallon tank.
So it was us and our dogs.
Right, and you're washing your vegetables much better. You have
to wash dishes.
Right, it's your only source of cleanliness. Everything you're using that water. So we had to add water quickly. So we started getting the 5-gallon Garafins when we could find those, which doubled us to 10 gallons. And then we got a Rotopack for another 3 gallons. So we ended up carrying 13 gallons. We left because again, I don't know where we thought we were going. We left with 5 different filtration and water cleaning devices.
You were ready
we had
for the water thing.
tablets, we had
The little UV stick.
Yeah, the UV
we
stick.
had all this stuff. We used none of it.
Oh, very good.
We
None of it.
tested it a couple times just to make sure it still worked.
There
but that was it.
are water purification centers, agua purificados,
Right,
all
everywhere.
over. They're everywhere.
Okay.
Especially Mexico.
Especially Mexico. They were the most.
So a good tip would maybe be have one for an emergency case, but you don't need a bunch of stuff.
Exactly.
There's going to be the water purification centers. What do they call them?
Agua purificados.
Agua purificados. Right. And they were everywhere. And then iOverlander tells you where all that stuff is. And
Perfect.
worst comes to worst, like in Guatemala, there were not a lot of water purification centers. But in every small village, people there drink water, In every small village, they would have the community sink that was called a pila.
Okay.
And usually it was mountain water. And it was some of the best water I've ever had in my
great.
life.
Yeah, it's just running straight into it. So you just catch the water in your whatever container you have.
But you figure it out. But I would say, though, to plan for more water than you think you're going to need.
Yep.
Okay. So do you guys use solar or generator?
We use solar now.
Yeah, we just started. We should have used it the whole way.
What's your recommendation on solar?
Overland Solar has these awesome flexible kits.
Okay.
We just got one, and
And solar the same as water. More than you think you're going to
yes,
need.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, because you can never have too much.
Right.
How much do you guys have now?
We have a 120, their bug out, the Overland Solar bug out kit. It's a 120 watt and it's foldable, so we can put it anywhere and we can store it in the car really easily. It's really sturdy. We left without solar and it was a huge mistake.
Yep.
We were constantly battling with our battery, and we had a great battery system.
Well, yeah. We had 2 Duralast
But you had
Platinum.
that big fridge.
Had that
Right,
big fridge.
right.
Yes.
Right.
Constantly battling with that battery. So we vowed we would never leave without solar again. And it was the first thing we did when we got back, and we went to Overland Solar. We're so happy with our solar setup
Yeah,
now.
it's awesome. It's super easy to hook up.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Do you guys have any way of heating water?
No.
So if you want to take a
Nope.
shower or anything? No? Negative?
We started out with that when you put in a bucket.
We started out with this ridiculous, these
Like a
things.
solar shower? Or?
No, but these things, like it's a perfect piece of gear of what we brought that we
Yes.
didn't need.
Okay.
So the little things you can put in your coffee cup, like the little metal things that will heat up a cup of
Little
water. We
heating
brought
element?
we brought a bigger version of that would heat in a bucket.
Okay.
Never once did we use that thing. It's like 100 degrees most of the places down there.
True.
Right, where we went.
B, no one has hot showers anywhere down there. Even at Airbnbs, there were no hot showers.
Right, yeah. If you got hot water somewhere, it was like you're kidding.
Right. So you just adapted. I mean,
Okay.
by the end of the trip, I didn't know what a hot shower was.
Yeah, but that's one thing I missed from back home.
Yeah,
was a hot
sure.
good
But we
shower.
sent that thing. We gave that thing away.
Yeah,
that heating
yeah.
element. we
Okay.
did.
Anything we missed?
I don't think so.
So any philanthropy that you guys did or any opportunities that you saw that you could pass on to our listeners for opportunities for them to do along their trips?
There are endless opportunities. We stopped at an orphanage in Mexico and we brought them a bunch of. Now, honestly, we didn't go to this orphanage to do volunteer work. I mean, I would be lying if I said we did. I wanted to see an orphanage in Mexico. It was on a list of something that I wanted to see and I wanted to experience. But I also knew you don't go to an orphanage empty-handed. So we stocked up on tons of stuff. We filled the car because it's dirt cheap down there. It cost us
Right.
nothing.
A
And
lot
we
of
brought
paper and crayons, markers,
lots
coloring
of school
books.
supplies and paints and things like
Yeah.
that. And we loaded up. And those kids and those workers, first of all, as far as orphanages go, this place was amazing.
Was it?
It was beautiful and clean, and these kids were
Okay.
so loved, and they were all
happy.
bilingual. Every one of them, they were so proud to show us that they spoke great English, and they did. And these workers showed so much love to them, and they were so kind to us. They invited us to camp. But they are always welcoming volunteers, and there's a lot of great programs down there. There's a Do Good As You Go kind of movement. There's a lot of great programs for volunteering. In Guatemala, in Antigua, there is a center for babies. It's an orphanage, but it's babies who have had developmental delays. And so all they want are volunteers to go and hold the babies and just give them human contact and connection.
That's not hard.
That's
Right.
not hard.
Exactly.
Right.
It doesn't cost you anything.
You know, and little things that you can do. Again, in Guatemala, like the firemen, they're all volunteers. They don't get paid by the government. So they're constantly on the road asking for money. And at first you're like, oh, it seems like a scam. An easy thing you can do, it'll cost you $20, is go buy a pair of boots for a fireman.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And it
Okay.
changes their world. I mean, the
Yeah.
boots, their volcano melted.
Yeah, literally held together by strings.
Right.
And
So we would get boots,
Yeah.
and they would be so grateful.
Awesome.
And then we volunteered in an organic farm. It was a big project. It was a community farm project in Antigua. And it worked out for us, too, because at the end of the day, they would give you a big bag of organic produce. And
Right. That was your
there's
payment for working
tons
there.
of opportunities
Nice.
down there.
Also, I would recommend bringing additional flea stuff for dogs, like flea medication.
For street dogs.
Yeah, because
Oh,
we saw
okay.
some that were like really in bad shape, a lot of ticks and fleas. And so if you can bring like a couple extra Seresto collars or like some
Little
heart guard,
vials.
Great.
yeah, there's this pill you can give dogs that helps them immediately shed the fleas.
Right.
And
And if you want to know in advance, you can literally call local veterinarians and local animal rescues. And virtually every area you're going to will have somebody working on this problem, and they'll tell you what they need.
yep,
And it's small, doesn't take a lot of space, doesn't take a lot of money.
Love it. Okay. Really good. Let's wrap it up with some fun facts about you guys. Any fun hobbies or things that you've been able to pick up that you always wanted to and never had time to do?
You know, I will tell you, some of these Overlanders, I don't know where they found the time. I thought we were going to be sleeping in hammocks on the beach. We were busy.
we were busy
Well, yeah.
all the
We were
time.
Yeah.
Figuring
constantly
stuff out,
busy.
like,
So no, I don't know that there was a lot that I explored. That
we learned to do the markets. Like
did.
that was
That
was
became a
something
hobby.
we started. We got really into eating raw food, and so we went to the markets and learned how to cook properly with like raw vegetables and fruits.
That's true.
And so that was kind of a
That actually
pastime.
changed our lives.
Yeah, we lost weight. We felt better, had more energy, and spent a lot of time at the market.
Perfect. Okay. What keeps your co-driver busy on long drives?
I like to argue with strangers on social media. I don't know.
That's funny. Do you play any musical instruments on the road or around the campfire?
Now, I brought a harmonica.
Yeah.
Again, I thought I was going to have all of this time to learn how to do something, and I've always wanted to learn how to play the harmonica, and I think it got sent home after about 6 months.
Yeah, by yourself or Karen?
I think she had two of them.
What's your favorite drink in the morning to get you going?
Just a coffee. Trying to find coffee with like cream, like half and half. Oh my God, that was such a challenge. So
Really?
yes, like half and half is not a thing. It's only in the United States,
Right.
Okay.
And so in
But
select
the
cities,
coffee down there is so incredible.
Yeah, we learned
That I wasn't a coffee drinker before our trip, but now, I mean, it's a daily event. It's an event. It was part of the experience.
right, like French press coffee.
Cool. Any favorite drinks at night to wind down after a long day on the road?
Depends on what country you're in.
Right,
Okay.
In Mexico, it was margaritas.
Carajillo.
And catajillos in Mexico, which is killer. And in Belize, it was mojitos. Mm-hmm. Mojitos kind of followed us most of the way, the rest of the way down.
Yeah, we flip flop between margaritas and mojitos.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. So what's your best advice to aspiring overlanders like us?
Say yes. Say yes. I mean, it sounds silly, but one of the most profound lessons on our trip that changed our lives was in the beginning, people would invite us to do things all the time. I mean, all the time. Locals would say, come do this, come have dinner, let me show you this trail, you can go to this waterfall. And we were always sketchy about people at first. Like, why? why are they inviting us to do this? Who are they? I don't know you. Why would I go to your apartment and try your tequila? Saying yes never served us poorly. It always ended up being the most amazing experience. Always. And by the end of it, we never said no. Like it just didn't matter. It became a turn down, no invitation rule. And it was so important to us. And I've carried it through life, and even since we've been back, understanding that 99.9% of people are not out to get you. They're just not. They're not standing there waiting for their opportunity to get you, and learning to say yes.
Yeah, and I would say also, if you're planning on doing this trip, stop spending money on things. Like when you're at the drugstore and you see that cute little trinket or something that you think you need, think twice about it. And instead of buying it, go home, put that money in a jar.
Like I would have spent $4 on this thing I don't need.
Exactly.
$4 in the jar. Because that $4 is literally another day on the road in Mexico.
Yep.
It's another day.
Yep.
And
It really
someone
adds
told
up.
us at the beginning, and I laughed at them because at the beginning we had just sold our house and we had all this money. And someone said to us, there will come a time where you are scrapping and scraping for one more day on the road. Just
Yep.
one more. And they were dead right. I mean, at the end, it was all about how can we get one more day.
Yeah.
So how can people learn more about you and what you guys are doing?
So we're kind of all over the place right now. You can find our main website is www.vagabroads.com. And that's where you can find, now we weren't awesome blog keepers, but we've got a few on there. We've got probably like 30 blog posts on there, and we try. But you can learn a lot about our trip.
And about our truck, like our build out of the truck and what we chose
Right.
to put
And
in
it has a lot of resources there, traveling with a dog, crossing borders, that kind of thing. Now, we've also, along with Taylor Polly of Running for Monday, we've started another project for women overlanders, and it's womenoverlandingtheworld.com. And it's sort of a hub. It's becoming a hub for women's overlanding, particularly international overlanding. And we've started a Facebook group for women overlanders. It's got about 1,500 members now. It's really a great place. And all of that also goes along with two other things that we've been working on. One, like you mentioned, we have a book coming out in a week. It has been a labor of love, finally come to fruition. But it comes out in a week. It is all about women overlanders. Mainly, women have a unique experience in this world, because not only do we have to learn about cars and where we're going, all of that, but we also have to overcome these messages that you can't go there and you shouldn't do this and it's too dangerous for women, or you have to be super physically capable, or you have to know how to fix your car and all these things. And what we found on the road were tons of women who overcame those messages and did it anyway. Many traveling by themselves, a lot traveling with their husbands, and we followed these people and we're like, but we hear about the husbands, or we hear about the collective, but what about like Desk to Glory? We hear about Desk to Glory, and we see Richard doing a lot of things. They're great. They're awesome. But how much do you know about Ashley Giordano and this amazing woman who is Ashley, who also had to overcome these messages? And she did as much and learned as much, and is so inspiring. And so we started, after the Facebook group came out, these women started posting their photos. And I just thought to myself, has no one ever put these in a collection? I mean, this is incredible.
Countries we had never even heard of.
And going everywhere, on motorcycles and vans, on bicycles. So we did it. And we asked them for their photos, and we asked them for their stories. And we put together a collection of 50 overlanding women who've traveled across borders. And it's called I Can, I Will, Women Overlanding the World. It's an incredible coffee table style photo book. It's 264 pages. I'm very proud. It can be found at vagabroads.com or womenoverlandingtheworld.com, and probably in about 3 weeks on Amazon as well.
Okay.
But the fastest and best way to get it is through vagabroads.com.
Is it a Facebook group or a Facebook page?
The Facebook group is Women Overlanding the World.
Okay.
That's the group. And like I said, it has about 1,500 people. We joke that the sort of the description of the group is it is a place for badass women of the road to talk about badass women things without the mansplaining.
Very good. Very good.
That's what it is. We talk about everything on there, but it's not just girl stuff. I mean, it is also what tires should I get for my car?
Right.
Because, in a lot of these forums, a woman can't ask that question without 100 men
giving 100 answers.
100
Yes,
and,
yes.
and a little bit of condescension.
Yeah,
There's
sure.
an ounce of that. So we've created this place where we can discuss all these things because we know just as much at this point. We've been
Yep.
living on the road too. So we can have those discussions without the condescension, without the attacking, and without the assumption that we don't know what we're talking about.
That's great. Awesome.
We're really proud of it.
You should be. Yeah, great job. Any more information you'd like to give or useful resources our listeners should check out?
Let's see. I would definitely check out the blogs of Running for Monday. I would check out, there's another website that's coming up from Rochelle Croft of Expedition Overland called IamKella.com. That's just for women in adventure, and we're going to collaborate quite a bit. Also, one more thing that I did want to talk about, also information through womenoverlandingtheworld.com, is next year, very exciting to us, we are going to be running 10-day trips, overlanding trips for women in Costa Rica. We've got the cars lined up. We're going to do beach camping. There's going to be yoga. There's going to be surf lessons. There's going to be driving through the back roads of Costa Rica, visiting waterfalls, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and also a couple of bougie hotels in the meantime.
Awesome.
But it is a chance for women to taste what we've been doing without having to sell everything and take a year out of their lives.
Okay, so how does that work? So if I want to send Lisa with you guys to
Yes.
go do that,
Yes.
so what does she need to do?
Okay, she needs to go to womenoverlandingtheworld.com and subscribe for information so that we can send an email out when we get a little more ready with our trips. We are looking at potentially May of next year.
Right.
At the very latest, it'll be October, but we're getting a lot of interest already, so we're starting to speed up the planning process. We're working with a company in Costa Rica that has these amazing outfitted overlanding vehicles with rooftop tents and camping gear ready. And there's a team of women overlanders in Costa Rica that are who are already there, who are going to come and help us out and guide us on some back roads and things like that, but nothing too taxing. I mean,
Right.
The mornings are going to be yoga. The evenings are going to be margaritas by the campfire. The days are going to be filled with adventure and however we want to fill them, with 1 or 2 nights of just nice hotels and hanging out, challenging ourselves and getting to know each other. For having us.
Yeah.
This was fun. We appreciate it.
Costa Rica sounds good to me.
You know, I thought their story about visiting the orphanage was really awesome, along with the idea of taking flea meds for animals, like stray dogs and the rescue, like animal rescue places. Just extremely inspiring. Yet one more example of overland travelers doing good in the world, and I love it. It's just awesome.
I want to hold babies and puppies too.
Make sure those puppies that you hold have got the flea meds prior to you holding them.
Yes. Oh, that would be itchy.
We don't want to have a breakout of fleas.
No. You can find the show notes at ghteoverland.com/podcasts. Just click on the picture titled Vagabroads.
It's the picture with the 2 badass women. And speaking of 2 badass women, Sunny and Karen, you guys are awesome. We appreciate you taking the time. So thank you for taking the time.
It's a ton of energy.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Loved him. Hopefully we catch up with you 2 ladies on the road sometime. Be a lot of fun. Drinks are on us.
Oh, now we're in it.
Be sure to check out their new book, I Can, I Will, highlighting 50 women overlanders, including our latest guests, both Taylor with Running from Monday, as well as Ashley from Death to Glory. An amazing book, a tabletop book. I forget how many pages, but the pictures in there are awesome.
This is a really awesome tabletop book. We have a link in the show notes. You can also go to the womenoverlandingtheworld.com, and they have a link right on the homepage. Go check it out.
Lisa, I just get so excited.
I know.
Their book it looks great, so I
Yeah.
think that people should check it out.
Yep.
We'd love it if you'd connect with us on social media at GHT Overland and share the episode with some friends who it might inspire, who like overlanding, who might like travel, meeting new friends, seeing the most amazing places off the beaten path, and so much more.
Hey, do me a favor. Take a screenshot right now of you listening to the podcast and post it on social media, and let's see what happens.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you. Drop us an email at ghteoverlandpodcast@gmail.com.
Do you have a favorite drink or food recipe for overlanding?
I do.
I do too. It has just everything chocolate. We'd love to feature it and you. Send them to ghtOverlandPodcast@gmail.com. Before you race off, it would mean the world to us if you rate and review the podcast. Give GHT Overland some love so we can reach as many Overlanders as possible.
We truly would love to see some more reviews. We appreciate all the 5-star ratings, and that's super awesome. I'd love to see some reviews on there. So if this podcast has inspired you whatsoever, please put that on there. That really helps with other people being able to find the podcast on iTunes.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
And I think if we get enough questions, we can even do a Q&A.
We've been getting some questions, and I thought about doing that and putting those on here. I just didn't prepare for it. So thank you for the people that have sent emails in and made comments, and very nice comments. We appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you. And we will see you next Thursday for a brand new episode of the GHT Overland Podcast.
Can't wait.
Me either.
It's a new one, and people are going to... It's cool.
Bye.